here joined on the Allen and Arod Sports Talk Radio Show with the great Lou Piniella. I'm glad he's here, Sweet Lou. And we're going to talk about him. We're definitely going to do our best to put him in the best position so that we think he should be in the Hall of Fame. So we'll get.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. So we'll start right there. What would that honor mean to you to be in the Hall of Fame?
Well, obviously, it would be a tremendous honor. You know, there's so many great players in the Hall of Fame. Some of my friends, good friends, and a lot of guys that I managed are in the Hall of Fame. And truthfully, the last time I missed by one vote, I was disappointed. But what are you going to do? If I had to vote for myself, I'd vote yes, but I don't vote. So, listen, the way I look at it is that I've had a long career, a very good career in the major leagues. And if it's in God's plan for my life, I'll get into the Hall of Fame, and if it isn't, I won't.
I definitely think you have a great chance of making it. Talk about the emotion you felt when it was just the one vote and you didn't make it.
I was at church for a Christmas pageant. And I got the phone call from a good friend that I had missed by one vote. It was really disappointing. It really was. I mean, and I was happy for the guys that got in. But I felt that I would get in, and it didn't happen. So there's naturally disappointment there. But listen, it is what it is. I wouldn't trade my career in for anybody else's. So I got a chance to play at the big league level as a player for 17 years. I managed for 23. So I got my 40 or 41 years in. I won World Series as a manager. I wear my Yankee championship ring with a lot of pride. Player. So listen, I've had a lot of great thrills, and baseball has been very, very good to me. And playing with the Yankees the last 12 years of my career was probably the most fun I've had. And then Mr. Steinbrenner gave me an opportunity to manage at the big league level. I've always been very appreciative of that. I went on to Cincinnati and we won a world championship over there in 1990. And then I managed Seattle, where we had good success. I managed in Tampa Bay, where I had very little payroll and it was very hard to win. And then I went on to the Cubs, where we went to postseason 3 years. So listen, I'm very happy, and I hope that this year, which will be my third try. Let's hope that the third time is a charm for me. You know, it was hard for me when I signed a pro contract. I played in the minor leagues 6 full years before I finally got to the big leagues. And my first year was Rookie of the Year in the American League. So it took me a while to get there. Maybe it'll take me a while to get into the Hall of Fame, and maybe it'll happen. So we'll see.
I'm very hopeful it will happen.
Thank you so much.
And you mentioned some of the great players that you played with. How do you think about guys like Edgar?
Oh, listen, I can start back with the Yankees. I had Dave Winfield. I had Ricky Henderson. I played with Reggie Jackson. I played with Thurman Munson. I played with Chris Chambliss. I played with Greg Nettles, Bucky Dent. I remember Willie Randolph. I mean, I played with a lot of good people. I had Sparky, Goose Gossage, Ron Guidry. It doesn't get much better than that. Roy White. So listen, and then when I went on to Cincinnati, I managed Barry Larkin, a tremendous player, tremendous young man. Eric Davis, another kid that had tons of ability. We had Tom Browning over there. I had Jose Rio that really pitched well for me the second half of the year, and then dominated in the World Series. So, and then on to Seattle, where I had Ken Griffey Jr. And when I had Jr., he was the best player in baseball, without question. There wasn't anything he couldn't do on the field. I had Randy Johnson. What an intimidating pitcher. I had Edgar Martinez, no better right-hand hitter. It reminded me of Jim Rice with the Red Sox.
Yeah.
So you know, I've been very fortunate, and I came over to Tampa Bay, and you know, I was promised that we would increase our payroll over time.
Yeah.
And it never happened. So we just, with a $20 million, $22 million payroll against the Yankees and the Red Sox and Toronto and Baltimore, we couldn't compete. But I think we showed them the principles of how important it was to win.
Yeah.
And then Joe Madden came in here and I think reaped those benefits. He did a nice job with the team. And then I went on to the Cubs, where they hadn't won forever, and we won a few divisions over there. Didn't do all that well in postseason. I sort of blame myself a little bit because I didn't realize that these kids had so much pressure over there to win. The Billy Goat, the whole thing. You know, the Cubs, they found excuses, and I came as a player from the Yankees where. People, you expected to win. And myself as a manager, I expected these kids to win in postseason. But I didn't. I should have relieved the pressure on them and told them, look, just have fun. Everybody is not giving you much of a chance, but just go out and have fun. I have confidence in you. You guys are good, but don't put any pressure on yourself. And I didn't do that because I never felt any pressure as a manager myself. So I have to blame myself for that. But you know, we won 3 winning seasons in a row. They hadn't happened in I don't know since when in Cub history. And then I retired. My mom wasn't doing well, and I retired and came home, spent time with her, which was more important to me than my job. So listen, 41, 42 years in the big leagues is a long, long time. And there aren't too many guys that have had the opportunity to play on World Series teams and win, and manage a World Series team and win. I'm one of the few in baseball that's been able to do that.
And that was a situation where you were the underdog too.
Oh my gosh, Oakland was favored. If we swept them. If anybody was going to get any money to be swept, it was Oakland to sweep us. But you know, we had a very good team. We had a very athletic team on the field. We had a good combination of left-handed and right-hand hitting, and some power and some on-base percentage stuff. And then we got Jose Rio really cranking up in postseason. And he matched up against Dave Stewart a couple times, and he came out the winner. And then I had the Nasty Boys. I had a bullpen that from the 6th, 7th inning on, we could dominate the game. So basically, we played 6 and 7 inning baseball games as opposed to the conventional 9 inning game. And you bring the Nasty Boys in. I could close with Randy Myers. He was my principal closer. I could close with Norm Charlton, or I could close with Rob Dibble. What other manager has that advantage? Not too many.
So that was outstanding. And also you won 3, manager years. A lot of people don't realize that. Talk about winning the first one and the achievement, and then the others.
Well, I've won over 90 games many times. We in Seattle one year we won 116, which is an all-time American League record, and then the Yankees sent us home in postseason. But listen, to be a good manager, you have to have good players. I was fortunate to have good players just about everywhere I was. In Tampa Bay, I had good players, but the problem was we didn't have enough money to put together a good team on the field and put good pitching.
Either one or the other.
It was one or the other, and we chose to put as good of a team on the field as we could, and we did. We competed, but you go on a road trip to New York, Boston, and Toronto, and you play 10 games. If you win 1 in each town, you feel good about it, But the rest of the places I managed, we won over 90 games all the time, and we went into postseason quite a bit. It goes to show you how hard it is to win a world championship. I only won 1 as a manager, and I managed 23 years. But Bobby Cox was a great manager with the Braves, and he won 14 straight division titles. And went the postseason. He won 1 World Series. So it goes to show you how hard it is. And Bobby was a really good manager.
Right. And one of the things that I'm glad you brought up, Bobby, is that a lot of the times people looking at the antics with yourself and Bobby, and they say they're comparable. They actually aren't really that comparable, because Bobby got ejected almost 100 times more than you.
Oh, without question. Yeah. You know, if you ask the fans, which manager got thrown out more, and they mentioned a guy like me.
Yeah.
But basically, look, when I first started managing, Mr. Steinbrenner called me in his office, and he said, look, your first job to do for me is win me a world championship. But the second job is to put fannies in the seat. I want the back page of the Daily News and the New York Post. So when you get kicked out of the game, put on a show for the fans. You know, and I played for Earl Weaver.
Yeah.
I played for Billy Martin, so I learned a few of those antics. And I probably overdid it at times. And truthfully, I'm not that person. That was a persona that and I can't say it didn't happen because it's on film. But really, if I had to do it all over again, I think I would have tempered things down some. But anyway, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
But yeah, Mr. Steinbrenner said baseball is a sport. It's a business, but it's also entertainment. So he says, I'll pay your fines when you get kicked out of a game, but get me the back page of the New York Post and Daily News. And and that's what I did. But I have a lot of friends that are umpires right now. I mean, a whole lot of them. I mean, it wasn't personal.
Okay.
Nothing personal. It really wasn't.
Okay.
But I get a chance to see a lot of them. I have a little golf tournament here that we do for charity in the Tampa area, and umpires come and play in it. So yeah, we're friends.
Yeah. So it's all just the sport. It's not anything personal.
No, absolutely not. Umpiring is a referee. It's a terrible. You're put in a terrible spot. If you make the call your way, the other team's going to get upset. If you make it the other way, this team's going to. There's no win situation, you know. But they do make mistakes. Managers make mistakes. Coaches make mistakes. Players make mistakes. Umpires do too. You see now when they have the instant replays.
Yeah.
I wish we had had them when I managed, because you know you'd see it and you're done with it. But we didn't. But they do make mistakes. They have to change their calls from time to time.
Yeah, it happens. You know, it's bang bang.
But it's a tough job, and they're professional. They're good people.
Yes, that's absolutely right. And one of the people that you actually got a chance to manage that people know is Ichiro. Talk about him.
You're right, Ichiro. I forgot about Ichiro. You know, Ichiro.
Yeah.
At age 25, I was the oldest American League Rookie of the Year.
Okay.
And Ichiro came along. At age 29, he became the American League Rookie of the Year, although he had played in Japan all those years.
Yeah.
Ichiro was very talented. You know, in fact, he's going into the Seattle Sports Hall of Fame this summer, and it's very deserving. He'll be in Cooperstown too. I mean, just a question of when he's eligible. But listen, we had an exchange program with Major League Baseball where the Japanese teams would send some players to Seattle. Remember, we had a Nintendo was the owner of the Seattle Mariners, the primary owner, and we exchanged players. We would send some players to Japan for spring training. They would send some players to us, and one of the players they sent was Ichiro, and we knew that this kid here was very talented. We knew that he could put the bat on the ball. We knew he could run. We knew he could feel. We knew he could throw. He had a tremendous throwing arm.
Yeah.
But we didn't realize that he was going to be as good as he was. This guy here got 260 hits his first year in the big leagues, and played the outfield as well as it could be played. Just a tremendous, tremendous throwing arm.
Yeah.
And a fun kid, always ready to play, would take care of himself impeccably, always stretching, always doing exercises. And he used to tell me, you know, spring training in this country is nothing. In Japan, we have morning workouts, a little lunch, and then an afternoon workout. And over here, we work out 2.5 hours, and we go home.
Wow.
I thought it was a little bit of a picnic.
Yeah, so that's amazing. And he had all this media attention around him everywhere he went.
Yeah, it was tough on him. It really was. The media wouldn't leave him alone. But I'll tell you what, he handled it really, really nice. And he became our leadoff hitter, and my gosh, the rest is history. I mean, he was a tremendous nice young man too.
Yeah.
And you know, the funny thing is, I would communicate with him in Spanish.
Wow.
And the reason being is, he told me that he learned Spanish from the Dominican players that would go to Japan and play in the Japanese league.
Wow.
And he said that speaking Spanish was much easier for him to pronounce in the American language. Yeah. So I spoke Spanish fluently, growing up here in Tampa, and we would speak Spanish from time to time and have a good laugh about it.
Oh, that's awesome, man. And
yeah,
that's some amazing talent you got a chance to participate in and manage.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. We had a lot of talent. Yeah. A lot of talent. Really, I mean, I probably managed to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or 8 Hall of Fame players, and that's a lot. It really is. It
is a lot. And one of the things that people have a misconception about Griffey is that he has a lot of talent. His father had talent, and the work ethic. Talk about some of Ken Griffey Jr.'s work ethic.
Junior was a special kid. He really was. I mean, I went to spring training my first year with the Mariners, and he'd hit these towering fly balls in Arizona, and they just carry way out of the ballpark. Wow. And I said to myself, you know, that thin air in Arizona, the ball really carries. But we started the season and we went to New York, we went to Boston, we went to Anaheim, wherever we were at, Toronto. The ball carried everywhere he played, so it was Junior's ability to hit the ball. Listen, he could play the outfield, he could run the bases, he could hit for power, he could hit for average, he was a really good RBI guy. When I had him, he was the best player in baseball in Seattle the first 5 or 6 years I was there, without question. Yeah. Loved it to work, take batting practice. He could hit batting practice for hours, but he was so graceful that he didn't have to work very hard at it. It came so natural for him, you know? And he was a special young man. I played with his dad.
Yeah, that's right.
Senior, and Senior was a really good player too, but he wasn't like his son. His son surpassed him, but and they got a chance to play together in Seattle the year before I got there, which was really special. And they both hit a home run in the same game. Boy, how special is that to be able to do that with your son? Yeah. I think LeBron James is going to try to do that with his son in the NBA.
That's right.
We'll see. We'll see how that works out. Yeah.
And you know, one of the things about being a manager with all this talent, how would you say you went ahead and went about managing? You know, I'm sure these guys had some type of.
Well, you try. Truthfully, the guys that made the Hall of Fame that I managed, they were easy to handle.
Okay.
Easy to handle. I mean, they were leaders in their own right. Edgar was a leader. Junior was a leader. Barry Larkin was a leader. Randy was a leader of the pitching staff, but you know, he liked to be more to himself, and I just give him the ball and just let him go win baseball games, and he liked it that way. But yeah, Dave Winfield, Ricky Henderson. Ricky Henderson, possibly the best leadoff hitter ever in Major League Baseball. Wow. Could hit for power, could hit for average, could steal bases. I mean, he made the offense go. But you know, basically, I didn't have many guys that I had problems with managing. I had a couple, but I did it for 23 years. But basically, most of the kids that I had, I really enjoyed managing, and I think they enjoyed playing for me. Look, I put your name on the lineup. Go out there and play hard and try to win a baseball game. That's it. And if you did that and you hustled, no, you wouldn't have any problems with me.
There you go. And if you felt someone maybe didn't go ahead and run after the ball that they should have.
Yeah, you go call them in your office and you tell them, look, come on, you're better than that. You know, we've timed you. We know what you're capable of doing. You know.
So similar that, hey, we know what you can do.
Yeah, it was simple. Yeah, listen, simple. These kids that play in the major leagues, I mean, they're very talented. They're basically, most of them, really, really good kids. If you can motivate them to play together as a team and to instill the pride of winning in them, that's basically what your job is.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And make them better players so they can make more money. They want to hear that too.
There you go.
Yeah.
And even with the tough years that you had with wins and with the Rays, you still have a very, very good win percentage.
Yeah, you know, I think I'd have had one of the top winning percentages if I had. You know, I went to Seattle and they had never had a winning season.
Right.
And we did pretty well over there, you know. And I thought to myself, I could win anywhere.
Yeah.
And that was a little bit of a foolish thing, truthfully. And the reason I say that is because you need payroll. If you're not spending money to stay with these other teams, you're not going to be able to win. And you know, we won 70 games over there in Tampa Bay for the first time ever since I was there. And it's a small feat, actually. But I was proud of it. I really was. I was proud of it. And I had a decent team on the field. I really did. We scored some runs. We played decent defense. But we just didn't have the pitching. We couldn't compete with these other teams. You couldn't. Our payroll was $22 million. We couldn't put together a good offense on the field and a good pitching staff. And it showed. And when you're playing against these teams with 100, hell, we used to play the Yankees, and Alex Rodriguez made 5 times more than my whole club.
That's right. And you.
No, I'm sorry. No, 5 times. So no, but he made more.
Yeah.
And by himself than my whole team. And Alex was another good player that I managed.
Yeah.
So he really was. We brought him up to the big leagues in 19 years old in Seattle. And I'm going to tell you what, this kid here could play. He really could. I wish he had stayed with us. He went to Texas, and I don't blame him in a way. They offered him twice what we did.
Yeah.
But still, I think probably he would have been better served staying in Seattle with us the whole time. He had Edgar, that was like his mentor, you know.
Playing with Ken Griffey Jr.?
Ken Griffey Jr. was there with him initially, yeah. You know, in Seattle, we traded away Ken Griffey Jr. and Randy Johnson. If I had them the whole time I was there, what would have been much better, obviously. Yeah.
And mind you, that was the only time Seattle made it to the postseason, too.
Yeah, well, they haven't been in the postseason in the 22 years that I've been gone from there.
Yeah.
So it's been a long time. They're getting closer now.
Oh yeah.
And they just made a nice trade with Cincinnati and got a couple nice players here over the winter. So they're going to make a stab at it this year. Hopefully it works out well for them.
That's right. And we definitely want to make sure you make it to the Hall of Fame. But you are inducted in the Tampa Hall of Fame. Talk about that.
Oh, I'm inducted in quite a few Hall of Fames. The only one I'm not in, truthfully, is the one in Cooperstown. But I just got inducted in the New York State Hall of Fame, and I'm very proud of that. Over in Seattle, Florida Sports Hall of Fame, and the Tampa Sports Hall of Fame. I'm proud of that. I was born and raised here in 1943, and Al Lopez was the first major leaguer to come out of the Tampa area, and he sort of was a trailblazer for saying or making the rest of us think, well, if he can do it, we have a chance too. And then myself and Tony La Russa, a good friend of mine from Jesuit High School, Kenny Suarez, we all got to the big leagues. And then the floodgates opened up, and so many great players from this town. I mean, I know that if I start naming them, I'm going to forget somebody, and I'm going to apologize for it. But you got Sheffield, Gary Sheffield.
That's right.
You got Dwight Gooden. You've got Tino Martinez. You've got David Magadan, he's my godson and first cousin. got Luis Gonzalez. You have Wade Boggs that's in the Hall of
Yeah.
Fame. I mean, it goes on and on. There was a time here where this area was the most prolific area for Major League scouts to find not only Major League talent, but I'm talking about star-studded Major League talent. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm glad you brought up Wade, because I was very impressed. You know, we went to the baseball, bourbon, and cigars.
Yeah, I enjoyed seeing him and talking to him. He's a character. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that as much. I enjoyed being with him. He told some funny stories, and especially talking about one of his idols, which was my idol too, Ted Williams.
That's right.
Yeah, and I enjoyed being with him. And he's a character. And what a hitter he was! My gosh, he could you couldn't strike him out. He knew the strike zone very, very well.
Yeah.
And Fenway Park, he used to pepper that left field wall like a guy that I used to remember when I was younger, Pete Runnels. Remember Pete Runnels?
Yeah.
He used to have the same type swing, boy. But it was fun being with Wade. And I look forward. I'm gonna go fishing with him here soon. So
That's awesome. And one of the things that was impressed with Wade is that he really, really advocates and wants you to get in the Hall of Fame.
that was nice of him. Yeah, it really was. It really was. You know, we have a close-knit fraternity here in Tampa. The athletes from here, we get a chance to be together from time to time and talk about each other's career. I'm sorry. Let me turn this.
No problem.
Let me turn this phone on. Spam risk.
Spam risk.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah, but it's amazing. Wade. Yeah, I was surprised that he said those things, but I really appreciate it. I really do.
Yeah, that's awesome that he wants you to make it. We want you to make it too.
Thank you so much, Alan. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
Yes, sir.
the interview.